Hey, beloveds, it is Dr. Tad with your dailyish freebie. It is October, it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but on this platform for the next couple of weeks, we will focus on domestic violence because unfortunately, as a metastatic breast cancer survivor in active treatment, I do appreciate all of the pink that's happening and on the talk shows and news programs. They all have special guests and they're raising money and they're donating to Susan G. Well, I won't say names, but they're donating to breast cancer support organizations. And who is speaking out for the victims of domestic violence? Who is giving voice to the silenced? What is happening? I don't watch a lot of network TV, so maybe it's there. I don't listen to or experience everybody's worship time, but I'm just not seeing it. And it needs to be talked about. Practical steps need to be talked about. We need to talk about religion and domestic violence and how it shows up and how your pastor or priest or imam or babalao or whoever your spiritual leader is, statistically is usually the first person that someone goes to. But now that people are using twisted scripture, as Reverend Carey says, from Maryland, twisted scripture, which then further victimizes the victim. And so people stop going to their spiritual guides for support. And there is ways and steps that can be taken to protect beloveds, to cover beloveds, to give them the resources that they need. I was reading an article, and I think it was dated back in July, and a football player, I think from the Chiefs, was arrested for domestic violence, and he was released on $5,000 bond. And then I couldn't help but think, well, what happens to the person that he abused? And he gets to travel and go to his games. And so anyway, part 7, not anyway. That's all important. And it's just quite frustrating. So winding down, just snippets of my story, because we could probably do 31 days of my story. But part 7, I relocated to Denver. I don't know where my former perpetrator is, and he did reach out to the church where I was serving, and then it just stopped. He threatened to come out there, and as far as I know, he never did. So I still, I had to deal with and heal and go to therapy so that my wounds then became scars, meaning that they've healed, but the scars are a reminder of what I've been through, but it doesn't define who I am and how I am moving forward. So my scars remind me that I never want to be in this situation again. My scars remind me that I am a healer. My scars remind me that I am still alive. I am still breathing. I am still taking care of myself and loving myself and honoring myself. So I, went to therapy because I would, if I walked to my car, which is probably something we should do anyway, but not at the level I was doing it, looking around, checking around my car, checking under my car, checking my back seat, When I was in Harlem, if I would go down the steps, I would always look at the cove, like under the steps on the first landing, to make sure someone wasn't hiding there. I When I had a smaller number of Facebook connections, I would go through each person to make sure he was not their friend. I would look him up with different names, and I don't know if he's on social media. I haven't found him. Guess I got to call my personal PIs to see if he's on social media. But look at what I have to go through after leaving. And when I said in a previous conversation, leaving is just the beginning. And I am 13 years out of my domestic violent relationship. 12 years out, maybe, something like that, but just more than 10 years. And I still have to be mindful, still have to be careful, still have to make sure, a lot of things that I do, I take the risk. I take the risk out of love for you because I want you to live. I want you to survive. I want you to thrive. I want you to know that you are enough. I want you to know that you are worthy of love. You are worthy of respect. You are worthy to be treated like a beautiful divine, like the beautiful divine human being that you are. So I do this to tell my story, to put a face to survivorship, to put a face to someone who may not be couched into what a domestic violence victim at the time looks like. It doesn't care about your education. Domestic violence does not care about your status. It doesn't care about how wonderful you might be. It doesn't care about anything. It is about power and control, and about that person having that power and control over you to get you to pretty much separate yourself from everybody and everything so that you are under their thumb 24/7, whether it's through manipulation, through verbal abuse, or intimidation through physical abuse, or additional power and control with financial abuse, or spiritual abuse, the twisted scriptures, using the scriptures to justify what they are doing. This is only the beginning. And here it is, 10 plus years, and I can still talk about this, and I still have to be mindful that I am a survivor and I am surviving. Had to deal with my triggers, had to deal with my wounds that became scars because I did the work to do the healing. Reverend Danny did a session on Facebook Live yesterday about anger, and she talked about doing the work. I did the work. And I encourage you to do the work. And we'll talk about what the work looks like on tomorrow. This is Dr. Tab with your dailyish freebie, part 7 of my domestic violence story. Be well, beloveds, and let's end this silent epidemic. Much love. Later.